Good evening, it's FIDE Master John Curtis, and as you can see from the cover of our chess school video, we featured the inspirational story of one Andrew Kelly of the Gosford Snooker Club. It was in a horrific accident, died twice on the operating table, and unfortunately lost his left leg, and still able to smile when he was visited today by Grandmaster Teddy and myself, and I found it very inspirational. So I asked Andrew whether we could show his photograph in the hospital with Grandmaster Teddy, and he consented to do that, because he wanted to inspire others that life is the eternal fight. It's the eternal battle, right? And you can't give up, right? And we found Andrew very, very inspirational, and I'm sure he can inspire others. He certainly inspires me. I couldn't use my left leg in August, and I was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and there's Andrew. He loses his left leg, and he's only very young. So I actually feel that his story and his road is far more difficult than mine. So it makes me feel a little bit better, and Andrew certainly inspires me. Anyway, today we're here with Chess School, and I thought I would feature a game between my chess student, recent chess student, PatrickGMurphy. It's a good Irish name, isn't it? He's rated 534 for the purposes of this game. He's playing white pieces, and he's playing a guy called Globe Flowers. And the game is played over 7 days. So one would think that the standard between these two players would be reasonably high. Now, Patrick Murphy opens up with the move e4. We're talking about basic chess. It's a great move. Develops the bishop and the queen, and it's a fighting opening. e5 is played, and we just got a natural king's pawn opening with 2 pawns in the centre face off against each other, and the queen is developed and the bishop is developed, right? Knight f3. Okay, so it's a king's pawn opening, and knight's developed. The idea is to play bishop here and castle rapidly, or to move the bishop somewhere on a white square, castle rapidly when you're a beginner. Also, it threatens a pawn, so you're developing a piece and you're threatening a pawn. And also, one of the chess rules is knights go on f3 and c3, right? Knights go on those 2 squares. When you're developing, f6 is played. Now, when Globe Flowers chooses this move, he deprives his knight of the f6 square. So the 2 knights usually go on these types of squares. And also, the weakest square on the board, the f7 square. Now, we all know those 3-move and 4-move checkmates, using the queen and bishop to attack the f7 square. Well, it's weak now that he's pushed the pawn, and so these are the sort of things that you've got to identify when you're playing the white pieces. So if I was playing white here, I would choose one of 2 moves, one d4, to make sure I've got both bishops open and full rapid development. The other move I'd choose would be maybe bishop to c4. I do prefer d4, but I could also choose bishop to c4. Let's see what move PatrickGMurphy makes in this position. He plays knight to c3. It's a very passive move. And when I was giving him some chess lessons, I did explain to him that in a lot of variations, the knight comes out after c4 is played. For instance, if black were to play pawn here, it'd be very hard for The knight can't go in the middle or anything like that. It's not a bad developing move, but certainly d4 is far superior. Okay. c6 is played. Oh, he's chosen my move. Globe Flowers, you champion. He's rated 626. He's also from Australia. Both players are Australian. And now bishop c4. Now, in this position, black has to be careful. He's developing a bishop where it can be attacked by a pawn, and he's got to then move it, hasn't he? He can take the knight, but it's not. It doesn't help White's plan to attack the white squares, does it? So yeah, b5 is probably the correct move in the position. And so if you want to put your bishop here, you should have done it long ago instead of playing knight here. And now in this position here, after c6, if you want to put your bishop on this square, you might want to consider a4 first. But the correct move again is d4. d4 is probably the best move, just attacking the central pawn and getting your pieces developed. Bishop c4 is played, knight h6. Now this puts the knight on the side of the board. We all know the chess rules of Der Springer am Rande bringt Schande, or the knight on the side of the board brings disaster, lightning and disaster, thunder, lightning and disaster. And the other English version of that saying is a knight on the rim of the board, a knight on the rim is grim, right? And so let's see how the game progresses. White plays d3, right? Again, d4 is a stronger move. So in this position, d4 is a stronger move to attack the centre, but to also attack the knight at the same time. It's a double purpose move, d4. However, White plays d3. He's a little bit tender, is our Patrick G. Murphy. He's not game enough to come out of his shell yet. He's probably, being a beginner, I always suggest to beginners what they do is they try to experiment a little bit, be a bit brave. It doesn't matter if you lose a few games. You can only learn from the experience. So be a little bit brave and just test your mettle out there in the world of chess warcraft. Be inspired by Andrew Kelly and take the bull by the horns, get out there and fight, because life is an eternal fight. b5 is played, and then bishop b3. So White's still got a great game. He's got some good ideas in the position. a5 is played. Now he's trying. What Black's trying to do is he's trying to play pawn here, which traps the bishop. Now Patrick G. Murphy, he's had 7 days to look at this position. He probably might have moved straight away or not taken much time with his moves, but he has chosen the move a5. Oops, sorry, a5. He's chosen the move bishop takes h6. This is probably the best move. G takes h6. And now a4. Right, so what he's doing is White's attacking the pawn. And now Black's got to make a few decisions. One move that could have been played. Yeah, so one move that could have been played in this position is this move here, a4. You played a4. After bishop takes g6, can White play knight takes pawn? So examine all checks and examine all captures. We'll just have a look at it. Knight takes pawn. Now, if the pawn takes the knight, well, you can still trap the bishop, remember. If you try to trap the bishop, it's not fast enough because there's a big queen check here. And also, if you hit the bishop, the knight can go in here too. So it's not really that clear. If pawn takes knight, queen checks, only one square, and queen takes pawn check is checkmate. Right, so it's checkmate. So obviously it should have been something that black should have looked at, right? This variation. After all, he did take the bishop on h6. The pawn recaptured. And so knight takes pawn was a distinct possibility. Okay, of course you might say, oh, in this position, instead he played a4, but in this position, had you taken the pawn, what if you trapped the bishop? Let's have a look at that move. Well, white's got a big check here. It is a big check, isn't it? And now the king can go here, right? And now there is a check there. There's a check there. But you can also move the knight there. I don't know what that does. But it's tricky. So you move the knight there and you attack the queen and the castle. And say black said, well, I can't take your bishop, you'll take my queen. So what if I move my queen here? You might choose to do that. Then you could play queen checks over here. Now the king can't take the knight because the bishop's still alive, even though the bishop's trapped. And the king can't go back because the knight covers the square. The king can't go forward because the bishop covers the square, so pawn here is the only move. And queen takes pawn, checkmate again. So some very nice variations there. So had Patrick G. Murphy studied his game, it's almost like a correspondence chess game, and had he played his correspondence chess game in the style of the great C.J.S. Purdy, Cecil John Sedgwick Purdy, who was the first world correspondence chess champion from Australia, right? From Australia, did you hear that? Yeah, from Australia. Then he would have had a beautiful game, a beautiful, beautiful game. Anyway, bishop takes h6, g takes h6. He played a4. He didn't consider capturing that pawn. So a4. b4 is played. Now this knight's attacked. Well, surely in this position you could, can you take the pawn? Can you take the pawn over here? What if you took this pawn again? So your knight's attacked, but what if you took this pawn? All right, well, you could take the, if you take this knight, it'd be very similar to the other variation. If you take this knight, we could give you a check. You've only got one square. Well, that's checkmate again, right? So it's still checkmate. So a4. He played b4. Well, so we looked at knight takes pawn. What if he takes this knight? Well, you've still got the check. And the king's still got to go here. Now you haven't got the checkmate there. But again, you can play this move. You've got the queen check. The king does run away. The king does run away, which is a real pain. It is beginner chess. I'll show you one variation. So the knight goes back here. Well, we know queen here is a checkmating line. So say the queen comes out here, giving plenty of space for the, hold on. Queen's not under attack, is it? You can take this pawn here, and if the knight takes the queen, well, you can make a queen yourself, right? So that it can get very complicated, but if you don't work your way through slowly, and you've got 7 days to work it all out, work out all the different moves, get your chessboard, and look at all the possibilities. Take your time, and you can grow. You can develop your game. And you can grow, and you can start seeing all the different deep variations, and maybe 1 or 2 of those lines will lead to a practical win. Anyway, g takes a4, play b4. Knight e2 was played. Now, when you play knight e2, you move the knight back here because it was attacked. Well, knight can't go here, right? So the knight from this e2 square, the knight can't go to that square. Can't go back there because the pawn's there. Can't go up there because the pawn's there. So the knight one would be thinking would be going to g3. Is that your plan, or what? Knight to g3. Looks like a decent square if you can get there. So he played after b4. Another move to be considered is knight to b1 with the idea of knight to d2 and knight there, and you can still get to g3 if you wanted to. But it's always a good idea to have a look at the knight tour, look at all the options, and try to find out what plan best suits the coordination, the total overall coordination of your pieces on the board. Right, you chose knight e2. d6 is played by black. You've still got these weak squares, for instance, but now we haven't got this combination knight takes pawn anymore because the knight blocks it. The knight blocks it. This knight blocks it because we haven't got a queen check. That's another reason why maybe knight to b1 might have been a bit better. We don't know. Castle is played. That's not a bad move. Develops a piece. Rook to g8. Well, this is a blunder by black. Globe Flowers must have just looked at the board and made an instantaneous move without thinking, because we know that the bishop can capture it, because that's what happened. Patrick G. Murphy just captured the rook. Bishop g5 is played. So it's not a bad move. It puts the bishop on a good square. Threatens to double take a knight, weaken the king a little bit. The problem, though, is that black is lacking some form of sustainability in the game. His game is just rubbish. It's just total rubbish. So white's best move would probably just be knight here. Knight here would be the best good reply, because the bishop can always run away, can run back here, or can take a pawn off. And when you play knight here, if the bishop takes the knight, the queen can take, and the queen comes into the attack against the black king. Let's have a look at what transpires. h3 is played. And let's see what black does. Well, black's going to play in the vein of our friend Andrew Kelly. He's going to play with a bit of inspiration here. His next few moves, he's thinking ahead. Watch what happens. He takes the knight, and then when the pawn takes back, he plays this move, rook a7. Now what he's hoping for is white doesn't see the check, so the bishop falls, right? So the rook is combining against the king and the bishop. Let's have a look and see if Patrick Murphy saw it. He played f4, obviously. Check! He hasn't seen it, has he? Patrick Murphy's missed it. Knight went to g3. Now black's got a choice of moves. He can take this pawn here or take the bishop. I think it's not an easy choice. Not an easy choice. Rook takes g8 's played. And now queen to g5 check. King moved to d7. He decided to run away, which is very wise. Queen to f5 check was played. And now the king moved again to c7. He's running away. Queen took a pawn with check. And in this position, black can... Black should play probably rook to g7. Rook to g7. Because he'd then be threatening pawn takes pawn to win the knight. Right? Bishop g7 is played. So now he's cut off his king's attack to the squares. Knight f5 is played. What he's done is he's opened up the file again by moving the knight. Not too bright, but there's no real danger here at the moment. Let's see now. Queen to f8 was played. It's a good move. c3 is played. I think this is a great move. It's probably one of the better moves in the position. I think I like this move, mainly because if black takes with the pawn, white's already got tons of material, but then when the pawn takes back, you can get the rook on the open file here. A better plan, though, a better plan than c3 is king here, because what you're doing, you'd be moving off the file, and when your king moves over here, right, so in that position, if you play king here, you can then play rook here, and you're threatening your rook takes bishop, and there's not much you can do. So king here would be a great move, putting the king on a white square where there's no checks, and threatening the massive rook to g1. It's far faster than the move c3. B takes c3 is played. He recaptured. Now e takes f4. White plays this move knight h6, which is not a good move. It's not a good move at all, and puts black back in the game. Puts black back in the game a bit. So yeah, the correct move is probably again king here. King here is a very strong move. King here, just threatening rook to g1, very powerful. See now. Played knight h6. Now rook h8. This is the best move, and it wins a piece. The queen's attacked, and you can play bishop takes or rook takes knight. Queen f5 is played, forced move. Bishop takes h6. That's okay because what he wants to do is put his rook on the g file and get a check. And now we'll just have a little look at where we go from here. Make sure you can see the board all right. You can, good. Okay, rook on the a file to b1. This is a good move because it stops the king escaping along these squares. Knight d7 is played, and now queen takes a5 check. This is a forced mating attack. King went to c8, right? Now queen a8 check. Now that you can save the game with knight to g8, but you're going to lose all your pieces, including your queen. So black tried this king c7, and then Patrick G. Murphy ruthlessly, I say ruthlessly, played rook to b7 check and scored a win. He doesn't win many games. As I say, he's only rated 534 at this stage. But Patrick G. Murphy, good game. Overall, a good game. There are quite a few improvements that you can make. But I hope you're going to watch this video and learn a little bit. Hikaru did a really good video that I suggest a lot of beginners have a look at. It's My Wonderful Wife, it's called. It's on YouTube, Hikaru's video, My Wonderful Wife. What Hikaru does in that video is he actually teaches a lot of players how to play advanced chess in a simple form. So it's really worth watching. I thought it was very educational about how his wife Atusa played in a tournament and how she played very, very well. So obviously she'd been training with Hikaru, and he taught her a lot of good basic chess themes and how to come up with practical, powerful chess systems with a great element of safety and caution and little risk. So there you go. If you want to pop in over there to YouTube and have a look at Hikaru's video, My Wonderful Wife, you can do that. What we will also do is we'll show you one more game. We're going to go and have a look this time at the young Pragnanandhaa. Going to go to top chess players, and I think a lot of people would know that all the Indian players are I love the Indian chess team. I love everything about India, the spirituality of the people. As shown when Gukesh won his world title, very humble, and thank God for the gracious gift that he gave Gukesh. But Gukesh had to put in a lot of hard work. He had to put in a lot of hard work, and he was rewarded. He's a wonderful man. And so now we're just going to slip down these top 10 players. And here's Grandmaster Praggnanandhaa Rameshbabu. And the Indians like to use the first name. So Pragnanandhaa, right? But they call him Prag, P-R-A-G-G, Prag, because it's shorter than Pragnanandhaa, easy to remember, and he's a wonderful, wonderful chess player. Grandmaster Praggnanandhaa Rameshbabu, Indian Grandmaster, who had one of the greatest youth careers in chess history. Pragnanandhaa, who only turned 18 years old in 2023, one of the youngest Grandmasters and World Championship candidates. He is the first of a historic quartet of contemporary young Indian players. Okay, so let's go and have a look at him. There he is. This is Grandmaster Praggnanandhaa Rameshbabu. And that's him when he was a little boy, right? He's a little boy. Well, look at that lovely smile that he's got. He climbed his way through the professional ranks largely in the World Youth Championships, where he won the under 8 age group in 2013. And he comes from Chennai, I believe, in India, which is the same area that our new world champion Gukesh comes from. So it might be something in the water over there. What do you think? You might want to go over there and drink the water if you're an aspiring chess player and you want to become a grandmaster. Okay, so there he is again. We'll move down here. It's him contemplating something complex. Apparently this is one of his best games, they say. So I'd like to have a look at it. Right, so we'll just make sure you can see the board. It's a little bit small, but we're going to have a look at it anyway. It's on chess.com if you want to go in and have a look. Normally what I do is I'll click on a link somewhere and I can make it bigger. It's the end of the game. I can go to the analysis board and we can show you the full-size board. So it's playing Axel, Bachman, SCHIAVO. Okay, radio there. So Axel plays Pragnanandhaa, he plays d4, he opens up with d4. Knight f6 by Pragnanandhaa. Bishop f4, the London system as it's known. g6, knight c3, d5. I got excited then because one of the things I like to do is see how expert players like Prag handle the London. Queen to d2. Now it's interesting, I was always worried about moves like knight here, threatening this pawn. So Pragnanandhaa must be quite happy with the move knight a6. Right, so knight here would threaten this pawn, and black could play knight there, knight to a6 there, to defend it. That didn't take place. Queen to d2 is played. Bishop g7, bishop h6. He wants to swap off the bishop straight away. Perhaps Axel, Bachman, SCHIAVO is frightened of Pragnanandhaa. Anyway, Prag just castles, captures the bishop, king captures back, and we have a position slightly favourable to white. Castles, and so here we have position favourable to white, and so Pragnanandhaa playing black, he's got to have the fighting spirit of Andrew Kelly. That's what he's got to do. He's got Got to have the fighting spirit of young Andrew Kelly, who was terminally ill for twice. He died on the operating table. So one could say that at this stage, when you look at the board, White's got an easy game, and if Black's not careful, he could die on the operating table too. Here we go. C5 is played. So Rameshbabu or Pragnanandhaa or Prag, he's played C5, and his plan is to get a rapid centre somehow. E3. Knight C6 is played, so he goes for the development, and what he's hoping for is he's hoping White will capture this pawn. F3 is played. This is a very timid move. It stops the knight developing to the F3 square and doesn't really cause Black any problems. Black played C4. And what Black's hoping now is he can block the bishop from developing. E4 is played. Okay, so White's got a bit of a wedge with the move B4, and Black's got a bit of a wedge. I should say here it's a bit of a wedge, stopping this bishop D3 move. But White's actually threatening to overpower Black. White's threatening pawn takes pawn. Pretty powerful move. B5 is played. He says, I'm not worried about it. I'm going to sacrifice some pawns, and I'm going to do anything I can to get to the white king. So I want open lines. I'll let you take the pawn off, but I want to come and get you. He takes the pawn in the middle of the board, and now knight to B4. Now, the beautiful thing about this move is that White has gotten an attack with pawn to H4, H5, takes the pawn and queen check and everything. However, what Black's trying to do is he's trying to get White to play on the queen's side and just forget about his attack, right? White's attack, and concentrate on Black's attack. And Black's trying to get momentum. So knight takes B5. He says, well, I'm attacking your knight. Knight takes A2 check. And now, what does he do? He plays king to B1. It's the only move. Queen takes D5. There we go. So queen takes D5. And this doesn't look like a good plan, because White seems to be okay in this position. He's got knight here, and knight takes rook. So we'll just see what happens. He plays knight A3. This is a very interesting move. C3 is played. And White plays B takes C3. He's not worried. He says, what he's really saying is he's putting the question to Black. You want to attack me? You prove it, right? That's what White's saying. Let's see what the response is by the great attacking chess player Rameshbabu Pragnanandhaa. Rook checks. Where does the king go? Where would you put the king? Okay. Well, he played king to A1, and Black played queen to A5. Now Black's threatening the knight. And do you notice that White's attack never got going? Never got going. Okay, so queen to A5. King takes. Okay, so he's captured that. Now, knight moves forwards. Now, look at this. It threatens knight checks. And the white king would be checkmated soon after. Knight E2 is played. And then bishop E6. And it's in this position that White resigned, because knight takes double pawn check is a threat. That's a double pawn check. So if you tried to hide your game, you tried to hide here or something. So you tried to play pawn here. The knight would then just simply check there. And then if your king goes back, you'll be checkmated with queen takes knight check. And if you go here, well, you're going to get you're going to be killed anyway with knight check here. It's double check. That means it's checked by the castle, checked by the knight, and now if you play your king here to defend the knight, well, bishop takes pawn check now can be played because you can't take back with the knight because you're pinned by the queen, right? And then you can't go here, you can't go there because of the knight and the castle, and you can't go here because of the castle. Only one square, and then checkmate is the next move. So that's why Axel Bachman SCHIAVO resigned against the great Rameshbabu Pragnanandhaa, who then went on to become one of the finest grandmasters in the world. And one of my favourite players, one of my favourite attacking players. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to make a donation to my channel through my PayPal, all donations from this particular video will be given to young Andrew Kelly, right, for his recovery, and like when he comes out of hospital, he's going to have a lot of things to do and a lot of expenses in life, and so if we can donate to him, that would be good. The other thing you can do is he has got a GoFundMe page that's been set up by his family. He's got 2 children. So if you could find, you might look at the Andrew Kelly GoFundMe page. Andrew Kelly of Gosford, Gosford, that's the suburb he lives in. Andrew Kelly of Gosford, Australia, GoFundMe page. Or you can just donate to my PayPal, and I can assure you that my good friend Andrew would get all the benefit, 100% of the benefit of any funds that go in from the video. Thank you very much. Thumbs up for the video, and if you can just give it a little thumbs up. And if you're not following my videos, what you can do is you can start following them. It's free to follow the YouTube videos, and then you get notifications of more videos that come online. Okay, so God bless you all. Take care, stay safe, and it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from Grandmaster Teddy. Grandmaster Teddy's tired. He's had a big day. He's been to the hospital to see Andrew, and he wishes you all the best. Okay, but he needs his rest. He's a tired little Christmas bear. Okay, so bye bye for now. And take care.